Welcome back. Jean Marie, it's now time for your favorite segment of the show.
It is good because I am getting hungry. Chef Mike, what are you making for us tonight?
Thanks, guys. Tonight, I'm making New York steaks with caramelized onions and the cannabis compound butter. I have some beautiful broccoli that I'm just gonna have steamed and some garlic mashed potatoes that I've already prepared. My steaks are gonna take the longest, so I'm gonna get them in the pan and put them in the oven. Then I'm gonna start on my cannabis compound butter. I'm just using a regular olive oil here. My pan is very hot. Make sure you coat the pan evenly. I already have the steaks seasoned with salt and pepper. Once the steak is cooked on one side, I'm gonna flip it and get it in the oven. So now I'm gonna start making my cannabis compound butter. Of course, I have cannabis butter, some garlic that I already roasted, some fresh parsley that I chopped, and some fresh thyme. And for some added flavor, I have some blue cheese crumbles. I also have just some unsalted butter here that I've let sit out just to soften up. I'm gonna start adding the ingredients one at a time and mix them to incorporate. Then I have some parchment paper here that I'm gonna fold out the butter onto, roll it up, and make a nice little package, put it in the fridge. So let's get started. So first I'm gonna add the canned butter. Then I'm gonna chop the roasted garlic just so that each part of the butter has its own piece of garlic. I'm gonna add that now. Now time for the fresh parsley and a little bit of the fresh thyme. And remember, I'm using blue cheese crumbles. Depending on how much you like, is how much you can add. I'm gonna mix it thoroughly. If you do it right, you won't really get a green butter. You don't want the can of butter to overpower all the other ingredients in the dish. I'm gonna put it in the middle of my parchment paper. I'm gonna mold it like a regular stick of butter. Just roll it up to stop the edges. And now you have compound cannabis butter. It'll keep in the freezer for a couple of months. It'll keep in the refrigerator for a couple weeks. In my house, it goes quickly. Now that my cannabis compound butter is in the fridge, I'm gonna pull out the steak and start to plate the dish. I got my steak about a medium rare. Cook your steak to your liking. I'm gonna pull the steak out and put it on my cutting board just so it can rest. While it's resting, I'm gonna saute the onions. I love caramelized onions on my steak. Just add as many as you want. This is just my steak, so I'm gonna add a lot. I really like to cook them down. While those are going, I'm gonna start to plate the dish. I got some garlic mashed potatoes. We put it in the center of the dish. I also have some fresh steamed broccoli. I'm gonna add my steak. Once the onions are caramelized enough, I'm gonna pour them over my steak, and then I'm gonna add the cannabis compound butter and just melt it right over the top. It's gonna be delicious. Think the onions look good? Now, it's time to add the cannabis compound butter. Depending on how much medication you added and how much you like, I'm gonna add about a tablespoon. Maybe a little bit more. Steaks with cannabis compound butter. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next week.